Yes. Yeah, I forgot my adapter.
They have going on. There's a little stuff around the house. I take care of things that I don't have time to do during the week. Seems like. Very and whatnot, the weekends primarily dealing with crap you don't have time for during the week. But you, what were you up to this weekend? Awakening. Oh, I thought I heard you saying something about that. Yeah. That was really good. 150 degrees. Thanks. We've been here this past, I guess it was Thursday. They had that, thing over there, the BCDC, end of that event. Oh, yeah. Oh. Out of the other day, and I was like, all right, give me two of those. I opened the can, I sniffed it before I opened it, I was like, oh god, I hope that's just the plastic I'm smelling. It was not plastic. Shit was disgusting, I could not do it. There's one can that's open, I used one tap out of it. And then the next convenience store that I saw on my trip, I went in there and they had us in. It's just like, you can't do it.
So that's how you break the itch, right? I would give it the negative things to make you feel miserable.
It was really disgusting. To me, of course, you said they smell awful. To me, they taste the same. But if you can get around the face, I should not do that.
Of course, still dealt with a day. Yes, that's ridiculous. Yes, I know. I mean, it's when we've been. Honest to God,
Auction bids.
that's exactly. Yeah, it was a short. It's hard, people are the big and then they can't get it. Certain places that's stock.
I think we're situated all in a stop.
Yeah.
And so.
Very true. They're building a new factory.
That's a file you sent for login stuff.
So.
I literally did see it yesterday.
That's much. Yeah, because like.
Yeah, someone's been bumping up.
They were hearing more about their making. Oh, they were going to.
We're gonna get pretty low for my feet touching floor anyway, but still.
Sorry. That's great. That's in the tool for that fast, just.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, they just can't like. Oh, it's going to revenue. Yeah, they just can't produce.
People want you to get rid of all.
I suppose, yeah, it's also a tariff.
Not a terrible idea.
Real bad. People.
Someone else would have heard it. For any of them. I don't remember, no one like we mentioned that, like, you'll have, I don't think we ever actually discussed a project. No, we haven't. Just making sure I wasn't the only one who. Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm guessing more cheaply.
They're offline, widgets are unavailable.
Yeah, just for takes, I don't know, things like that. I'm still confused. I'll see this page on the floor. Just waiting back as well. You're straight. Yeah. I have a biggest picture of the product. It sells it. So it's kind of become aware of it. Yeah, but you just like I was you know no, not 6 hours. There's
I've done 7 minutes round, but
Good for you. Good.
if it comes up, I'm just gonna say, look, everybody.
On this one too, but which is true.
I just don't.
Like I've had everybody that I have that is like on my direct message, like friends list on Discord, someone I've had multiple. The first one I think I've been, I do, so like, and,
I've been there now to land, but it's but
Unlucky.
they're all right. They're not. They didn't know. They never. You like it.
I've never tried it. I only every year. So that's the first one I was able to get was. I guess like nothing.
Yeah. They had some.
Okay. But sorry for one thing, if you have the projector, but I lost my adapter, so I cannot connect to the HDMI. Okay. Can I borrow? Do you have anyone? Do you have it? Okay, thank you. Okay. I couldn't find mine. Okay. Yes. What do you mean?
I mean, I just so it's cool.
Yes. But waiting for the new one, so hopefully they have it. Yeah. Let me see. I need to pop it in.
My Surface Pro, I had that done proprietary. It wasn't even USB input, whole different connector. I had to buy like a dongle, connect HDMI to it, and that's it. Nobody else used it.
I look off. Of the ones that you do one of everything.
Oh, yeah. Look at it.
I love complicated general. They're also true. That's why Keith made from. Have a migraine throughout the day because I'm used to having it every night.
Well, that's fair. Finish it.
Because I screwed myself into it again, even though I stopped for a while.
Okay.
But my finger keeps going further than you have to have a lot of pain. It's a local. I used to make cold brew with it.
Okay, let me connect to here. Let me. Okay, good. Thank you. Podium HDMI. Document camera. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Thank you. It works. Okay. Today we more likely also is the lab like extension of our previous lecture. So about the like cryptography two second one. So today we will keep going to talk about more like checksum. Okay, so we know the checksum just like try to provide a small size value. So different from like from the large data set. So we use some specific algorithm. So okay, so we use to detect the errors in the data transmission or storage. So mainly we try to make sure it's the code integrity. and detect the error. So in data during the transmission and the storage, because when we transmit through that we call the physical channel, like because all the data we're sending through like bit by bit, so it's the kind of like voltage like on off, right? So it's possible by some certain interference, maybe some other physical issue, so it will change it. So we need to using checksum to make sure. One is for the file verification. So we use a lot common use case. So we are using called the SHA-256 for the checksums. And then if we download the files, when you download certain files, it do have occur error, right? Sometimes it happen. It's like it already crash, and then you're not even download it, but you couldn't able to open it. So most of the time it couldn't pass it the checksum validation. And another one is the network protocol. So when we use it for the TCP/IP, so we do have a checksum for error checking. So here's a pretty common applications. Most of the time when we have a checksum, how it works. So we break down the data into a fixed size block. So this one, and then we'll apply some of the mathematical algorithm to generate a checksum. So that one will be sent or stored with the data. Okay. Sometimes we will compare. So right here, when you generate a data, so we have a checksum value, and that checksum value also will send it transmit to the destination. So the destination will go through the checksum one more time and match it. Okay. So this one is like called the kind of like double verification to make sure, okay, the checksum I have is what I expected with the checksum, what we sent. Okay. So the receiver will be calculate the checksum and compare it to detect. So this is how it works. Here's we'll show you the example, kind of like in class exercise. So if let's say if I give you a string hello, and then the checksum like can be the sum of the ASCII value. So if I tell you, okay, it's an ASCII value, then we need to refer to the ASCII code. So if you still remember the ASCII table, okay. Any table right here, and refer to let's say if capital A, we always refer to like 65, and then to Z, so 90, and then lowercase a 97 to lowercase Z will be 122. Okay, pretty common. You will see a lot like for programming if you need to interpret about some like characters, detecting those character like from character to integer, integer to character. We always refer to the ASCII table. Okay. And if we say, okay, from here we have, then we will just like calculate some of the values. Hello, so we just like getting HELLO and then modules to 256. Okay, so I will give you, so right here we doing this one, and just like modules to 256. I just give an example. So right now we just like just add all the value, get from the ASCII code, and then modules 256. So what is the remainder? So it's the checksum value. So just give you the example right here. So let's say I want to let you to do the checksum for cybersecurity. So all of them refer to the ASCII table, 65 to 90. Okay. Just add them together and then modules by 256. So let's say C, let me using Word. So refer to ASCII table. What is C? 67. Okay. And then Y. Okay, 89. So what you need to do, just like keep adding them all together. So I will do it with your B. Then B will be right here, so will be 66. Okay, so on. So if you keep doing, and then just like for you for doing exercise, so I would like to let you to calculate. Okay, if you refer to all this and then get the checksum value. What you need to do later after I will tell you, okay, what is the value you need to modulate. So all this, like we try to the purpose, let all the participants like need to recognize that ASCII this code, like knowing the character encoding standards and understood how each character has a corresponding numeric value. So right here, so you just need to know. And here's like all the numbers would be all the ASCII value 67, 98, and then you just add them together. Okay. So if I ask you try to what's the value and then what's the modules number, if I tell you it's a 256, then here's the encryption 256. And then just like sum them together. So what's the total? It's the 876. Okay. After you add them together, then we will say modulo of 256. Then you need to do just return the remainder by dividing it. Okay. So this checksum value will be between the range 0 to 255. So it makes sense. So the modules. Okay, so we're getting the remainder, right? So sometimes the symbol is like this. Okay. So if I give you a total, it's 876, 76, and then modules by 256. So the possible answer will be the range between 2 to 250. Okay, so it's a modules. Okay. And you will get it like if we modules it, you will get the remainder. So it will be 108. So the answer will be 108. Okay, so if I sending this message, I using this checksum, so I will sending. So this is a bit pattern. It's like including the checksum value. So it's 108. Okay. So if you receive the message, then I will doing the same way. So I will using the same standard algorithm. Okay, so I will convert them to all ASCII code, and then I'll add them together and modules by 256. Okay, so if we still get the same checksum value, then it can confirm, okay, at least the content, the data we transmit through the like physical channel like will be the same. Okay, that's how it works. Then why we sometimes using the modules of like 256? So we just like try to think about why we giving the range. So sometimes we call it the byte array oriented operations. So if I want to say, okay, if I change to cybersecurity 1 to 3, so what's the checksum? How about this one? So this one is the exercise. So I will post it, just give you some in-class exercise. So for this time, I will create checksums in class. Okay, doing the checksums. Which 256. Okay. And here's the ASCII table, just like slide exercise. Pretty straightforward. So if I ask you, okay, doing the checksum, of course, when the bit or the data you transmit from the sender to the receiver, then actually more complicated because It's just like including not only a word, but also it's a sentence or multiple sentence, and including also we can use the checksum to validate the package we're sending out, because the package we're sending not including the data. Also maybe we have the header and then maybe some location IPs, all this. So we can use the checksum to validate. Okay. Pretty easy, straightforward. But this time I'm giving you the number. So how can you add the number? Well, when I give this question, it's not only cybersecurity, they're all capitalized. Okay. So if I make it more complicated, okay. But it's pretty straightforward. So if I asking, let me let it visible, and then check some. Okay. So if I give you one more, let's say I change all the, like just change some of them to lowercase. Okay. Then how about like this? One is like the all uppercase, and then one is lowercase. So what's the value? Right here you need to do just like compare the ASCII table. And if there's something requires if just for the exam or some questions, I will give you the table, like which one will you refer to. So make it simple. Most of the time I don't really ask you to refer to the ASCII table, or I will give you the range, like all uppercase from 65, like this. Then you don't have to memorize like the ASCII tables, and then you can verify. Yes, a mixed case. Yes. So I give you two questions. Okay. Pretty straightforward for this one for doing the checksum. Or just like extra things, if in case for the transmission, we have for the bit change, sometimes from the, let's say the C change to D. So what's the value in case the question? Okay. So in case, like let's say if I change C to D, so what's the checksum value? So you can think about, or like if you're interested, you can change that number. So actually from C to D, so it's one number bigger, right? So if you multiply by 256, so it's not 108, but it's 109. So when you compare two checksum value, so one is 108, one is 109, so it's the certain mistake. Okay. So this one can help you to know, like if just a only small change of the data, so it can dramatically like change the checksum value. So it makes like useful to check do the error detection. Well, I just need to know, okay, what's the value, like the finalized, then I will able to know, okay, it's no. And after you finish submission, submit it, then here's a question, let you to think. So do you think what's the potential weakness using this way, like ASCII or then modules? Yep, question. One, let me see. Let me see. Let me see if I miss it. 160, 89, 66, 69. In case I miss any number. Okay. 69, 82, 83, 82, 83, 69, 67, 85, 52. 73. Yes, I think I miss. Okay, yeah, you're right. I missed the number. Okay, so will be 105. Okay, 105. Okay, so I missed the value. And then if you, but it's the same, it won't affect. So if you're using 105, if you follow this one like modules by 256, so the value is 237. Okay, so we can do a checksum. And if in case I change the C to D, so what's the total value, sum of it? Will be 106, right? So it still will have the same, like if we modules by 256, then we will become 238. Okay. So the checksum value is still not the same. So by theory is the same. And the question I gave you, because they just refer to the ASCII table, because if I give you all capitalized number, so you need to refer to a range from here 65 to 90. But if you see the lowercase, then you need to add the value start from 97 to 122. If you see more the number, then what's the range of the number? So what's the range of for the number? What's the ASCII? For the numbers. Can you find it? Yes, from 49 to 57. Okay, so if you see some question, like if I give you some special character, so if no matter even a space, we have 32, and then maybe some SI, other special symbols letter, then also we need to convert. Okay. But if in case like I ask you something about checksum you need to do, don't worry about this one. You don't have to really memorize it. So I will give you the range. And just need to add them together and then modules. Okay. Because we have the different standards, so just like depends on which maybe encryption, but we just like make it simplify. Let's say we using a 256, then just modules by 256. It's okay. And after you finish, then it's okay. And just like remember, even we mentioned about talk about checksum, it doesn't mean that using this one we still have the potential. We say it's a false positive result. Is it possible, right? It's the same reason, because let's say if I have a cybersecurity and then my B, the B changed to R and this R changed to B, we still have same checksum, but the original test is not the same. Okay, so that means this is a potential weakness. Like even though we can get the same checksum value, but we cannot detect it, so it's really hard. Okay. And then next, and then for the another one, the cryptography, we talk about the digital certificate. So that one we just like provide electronic documents to use like provide the ownership of a public key, and then we contain the information about the key, like identity of the owner, and then the digital signatures of the entity. So they have a verified by the certificate like contents. So the digital certificates, they are like crucial component of the public key infrastructure. So we have like called a PKI. So they use to secure the communication of the internet. Okay, so it's a kind of definition. For the digital certificate, so we know they are kind of like essential for the kind of like thinking just electronic passport. So it also is like representing you. So it's your identity card. Okay. So it will provide like ownership of public key. So it includes the public key. So this key will share the publicly like and also used for encrypt message. Okay, so kind of the same. So we talk about like the public key for encryption, and then we have the subject. The subject content including the identity of the entity. So mainly the people who like the certificate who was like issued maybe the website, organization, or some individual. So you know the digital certificates can be if we use for website, sometimes the SSL, and then for the personal use, we do have for our personal use digital certificate, and then we have the certification authority, CA will verify. So if you remember the diagram, we have the third party one. So in our lecture, we talk of third party, so we encrypt it and then send it to third party. That third party will validate and decrypt it, and then we forward to your receiver. Okay, so that's how it works. And then for receiver, we just say, okay, we just like also like decrypt it and encrypt again, and then send it to the receiver. And also we have the validity period. So we'll make sure the date, so which this certificate is valid. Maybe sometime we need to renew it. Okay. Especially for the website SSL, you have to pay for it, like renew it. And then we have the serial number. So that one will be the unique identifier for this certificate. And then the digital signature. So that's included. So this signature of the CA. So they will certify the authorities of the certificate, and then maybe they have some other information, maybe the like organizational details, country, locality. So all these other information. So all this will be included inside the digital certificate. Okay. So, but this one just like for extra information. For let you know, for the structure of the digital certificate. So typically we have the called the like X 509 certificate. So it's pretty common format we're using nowadays. So we will giving the version, so specific, so will be this X 509 version. So why not maybe using V3? Okay, the version. And then we have the serial number. So this all I know. And then we have the algorithm, signature algorithm we're using. Probably we're using the SHA 256 with the RSA. Okay. Just have a question, because sometimes I will, maybe you'll see a question. So what's, anybody still remember what's SHA 256 or RSA? So what, those like encryption method, or like they belongs to which category? Symmetric, if no symmetric, asymmetric, so.
Symmetric and then RSA is asymmetric.
Yes, correct, okay.
Essentially just hashing.
Hashing, yeah, we also connect the hashing too, yeah. And you see the method right here. Actually, we if you remember, we talked about high max, right? So nowadays we are not only using the symmetric or asymmetric, but we mix them together. Okay, so for the one way, so for the SH, but mainly for symmetric, not really hashing, but sometimes we just like for SH is the shift, you know, the shift. So if I give you the original text, so we will for encryption we shift 1 bit and at the value that shift 1 bit. So normally we like taking 10 rounds for one encryption term. So maybe it depends on the numbers you define. So if you define maybe 128, so it will be less than, the terms will be less than 256. So it will take less. And I'll give you the time to try. Have you, any of you tried to generate a certificate for yourself for SSH? We use the open SSL and then to generate your certificate. And because when you in the class, like I asked you try to download the certificate, right, using the RSA encryption, and actually you can generate your own SSL and then save on your local computer, and then send this copy to your server. Okay, so your server side can save this certificate. So if next time if you need to use the SSH connect to your server, then you can use this server. Okay, and later.
Is that what enables HTTPS? Or
Oh, no, HTTP for SSH for remote, okay, yeah. And for the HTTPS, I quickly go through, but maybe it's not really working. Mainly reason because for the AWS, because the domain they gave you, so they cannot pass the validation. Okay, because it's too long, so the called the less encrypt. So they didn't take this type of domain. But if you do have your own domain, then you can use the server to generate. And right here, and then valid issuer. Okay, so issuer the just stop right here, and then issuer, so who included. So most of the time maybe the CA, and validity, the validities period. So they sometimes like maybe not before or like not after date. So it would be arranged. And then we do have the subject. So what the entirety, like who to which like the certificate is issued. Maybe this one is for the server, for individual. So either way is okay. Server side, maybe we can use for the SSL, the one you HTTP, or for individual, if you want to show it yourself. That's why I asked you, like, have you used some like banking or something require your digital signature? Then that certificate this can use for it. And we have the public key information, so the public key and then the associate, so maybe RSA or the ECDSA, so inner encryption. But most are pretty common, we use the RSA, and then the issuer unique identifier, but it's optional, or like the subject unique identifier. So this one, but also it's optional. It may not include, or it is included. Okay. And then we have some called extension. So maybe other information like usage or like some certificates policy. And finally, the signature, the digital signature of the CA. So even they will put the signature of the CA, so also include. Okay. So they make sure this certificate is from the CA they provide to you, they certify for you. Okay. Basically, I will show you how this works, but for just like extra things, you don't have to memorize. And I won't really ask you how this certificate. Like first, you need to send the request, certificate request. So entirely, like maybe most of the time for the website, when we need to request the SSL, so we try to generate a private key pair and then request the certificate from the CA, and they will do the verification, so verify the identity. So for the entirety, maybe use the individual or website, and then they will involve the validation about the identity. So here's the things when I give you the well, let's say when we use the Let's Encrypt, right? Let's Encrypt, you can generate a certificate. The problem is like, why now I still don't know who you are? Do you get what's the question? Or like what I'm saying? I still can generate, I can obtain a SSL, I can have a certificate. But so far, like right here, everything it works. But I don't know what's the entity, like what's the individual. I know the server, maybe I have the server IP. Okay. But I still don't know who you are.
Oh, so you mean like it's the right IP, like it's the right source, but you don't know who's behind.
Yes, who is really behind. If I'm an attacker, I still can request for a certificate. Okay. But of course, if you say, okay, if you really some like network, like sometimes really like if something happened, then you need to ask for the service provider to check, okay, who hosts this IP address, and then which account, and then who's the owner. Then you have to trace back all these things, but it will include. But the idea when we introduce the digital signature to represent, most of the time, if you need to purchase, let's say if you're using like GoDaddy, if you know like Namecheap, all these, like some of you maybe purchase your own domain. So if you need to purchase those like certificates, like officially purchase those digital certificate, you'll need to provide your personal information or like something related. Okay, so that's why it's more like telling us who you are. Okay, but for those like free version, I only can able to tell some basic information, but you're not really can validate actually who you are. Okay, here's the pay attention, but you know but the advantage, at least we can secure your connection. The reason why we still using the public key and private key. Okay, so like in one time we don't know who is the actual owner. Okay, but still we increase the security for our data communication, like because for your website, if we are still using HTTP without certificate, then we are still not using the private and public key to encrypt it. But when we are using a digital certificate, we still using RSA or like to using the public key to encrypt our message when you sending a request. So we still can gain the benefit. Okay. And then the signature, so basically how it works, and then they will validate the entirety certificate. But that's why for Let's Encrypt is free, because we don't have to really validate your the entirety, the background, okay, who you are, but we just provide you the key. Okay. And then for the insurance, so once they verify like your identity, then they will issue the digital certificate. So they will contain the public key. So that's why I say we mainly using their public key and private key like to doing encryption. And then the CA will sign the certificate. And then for the public key exchange, so when they need to share their certificate with others, so like here a website, so the certificate contains the public key. And then this key can now like used by anyone for the security communicate with the entity. Okay, so here's the main purpose. Just like this one, we match what you learn. Okay, so we're learning security, online communication, SSL. Then this part. Okay. And then the verification by the recipient. So if someone receives the certificates, then they can use the CSCI public key. So this one will be kind of like pre-installed like trusted store, and then to verify the that like certificate. So if they match, then that certificate is valid. If you look at the right here, okay. So if you pay attention to the website, if you click on the website, sometimes it will tell you, okay, where's this certificate? Let's say we are using our new school, our East Texas. So it will giving like what's the common name, organization. So it's not part of the certificate. So and then organization, you need not part of it issued by. So right now you know the school host on where, or which service are they using for the commerce? Yes, Amazon. And then they're using the RSA 2048 and then MCL2 and then provide the Amazon. Okay. And we say we have the period, right? The time when they issue it. January 9th, right? And then until February 7th. Okay, so here's the information. And then certificate. So they are using SAJ 256. So everything. So that's like what you need to know, the information in match. And sometimes we were learning cybersecurity. How can it say we say we have the knowledge gap? Like in practical, like when you know it, okay, all these things is just knowledge, right, on the textbook, so you can find anywhere. So how can we apply those knowledge into like reality? So that's how it works. That in the industry, we do using all these standards, and you can able to know, okay, right now we know the what kind of encryption. So they have a certificate, and then we using the public key. So we use this public key for encryption, and then Amazon. So here's the hierarchy. So they have the Amazon word CA. So who is validated? So this one, the Amazon. And right here, so under here, if you know the content, we have the version 3. So we are still using version 3, serial number, and then algorithm. So we are using an SHA 250 with the RSA encryption. Okay. So who's the issuer? So we are offered by the Amazon. Okay. Rated, like you say, not before, not after. So here's the range. Subject, CN, and then what's a private key, and then encryption. And okay, so why not the even modules by yeah 2048. So the range is even longer. Because I gave you the example. Okay. This one is not included, but I asked you a question. So what's the difference? Why the number is bigger? So why the reason I will give you using 256 or 2048? What's the benefit? Why I need to? Oh, I was a benefit. Of course, I give you a larger number, but why? Well, I say, okay, why we can still using 256, but why they using 2048? Because in the like I gave you, then what's the possible reason? So we have more because if I have a smaller modules number, just this like kind of the pool, right? So it kind of like the pigeonhole principle. Don't know the pigeonhole principle? Yeah, I think in this lecture we do mention about it, but you need to know. Do you know what's the pigeonhole principle? Okay, so if we have like the pigeon, okay, pigeonhole. So if we have n pigeonhole, and then if we have n plus 1 pigeons, then that means at least one hole we have 2 pigeons with like 2 over 8, right? So it will duplicate. So when we have a less modules number, that means like we can have a possibility that get the same, because we only multiply 256. That means like even though the actual value, the plain text may be modified, but because we get the same, not the sum, but our remainder is the same.
So just their collision.
Okay, we do have a collection, yes. So when we talk about pigeonhole and another things about collection, okay. Hashing is the same. Because for hashing, we do have collection. So that's why they will provide bigger number. Then the next question is like, then we can give even a bigger than that, like 2048. And how about give maybe 96? It's still possible, but it's spend more time. Okay, so how can we balance the efficiency, fast speed, and then for the encryption? Okay, and we have still a lot of fields for extension, but I'm not going through all this. Mainly we cover all the major things. We talk about that. So why not? Then you know, okay, when we look at the certificate, how it's rated, then you know how to check it. Okay, and if you have a chance, like implement, because in this class I just let you try for, but if you are working on the website, like the web programming, then if you want to try to use the SSL, and then you feel free to do that and check your certificate. Okay, so after you generate a key and then import it, look at yours. So what's the differences between those? Okay, and right here, so there's still more like some examples of the digital certificate. So if let's say we have the website and have a call example.com, then it need to have a secure communication over the HTTP. So I'll just like show the steps. You don't have, if you're interested, you can try, but you just need to know how it works. Okay. So we need to try to create a private key and public key pairs. So we need to generate. So those like private key will secure, like, so we'll use for this website. And then public key will be the digital certificate. And then we have the CSR, the certificated signing request. So it will create the CSR, and then with the public key. So along with the information about the website, so all those, like let's say the subject name, domains. So this one will send to the CA. The one of CA is called the Let's Encrypt. Okay. And when we have a verification by the CA, so they will check the details of the website, ensure the organization they actually own the domains, like this one. And then the certificates insurance, they will, once they verify, actually pretty quick. So once you submit the use the Let's Encrypt, I think once you execute it, if all the information the engineering like setting, if they're all correct, you will obtain the PM, the key immediately. Okay, so they will offer you. And so those like they connect the private key, some information, and then they will say have a digital signature certificate the information they are accurate. Okay, then you need to install those certificates. So how can you contact those things? So you need to access like to the your domain. Then once they visit it, so the browser will try to check the certificate. So make sure they will be like signed by the trusted CA. So the one I say we use a lot. The free version is called a Let's Encrypt. And but Let's Encrypt they have this the only issue is like they not really validate. Okay, but they know you own the domain. They're hosting pointing to this website, and that's it. So they will check the like with the how the like not before and after. So you have to renew it like every year. So this one of course like for the support when you install, then you can set auto renew. So if you are still running that website like hosting on that server, then you can have a auto renew. They will check it and then help you to renew it by yourself to make sure they won't expire. And then they will also use the public key to establish the encrypted connection. So using the SSL and then the TLS. Okay. And then different type of the digital certificates. So they're including the domain related. So we call the DV. So they will verify the ownership of the domain, and then it will be the cheapest and fastest to issue. So this like is like called the original, like we pay for it and buy it. Okay, so they need to validate, but not the Let's Encrypt. And then organizational. So probably like the school like this, we also need to get the certificate, right? So school belongs more to the organization. They will know like who's it. So they're both the domain ownership and then the organization identity. Okay, so it will provide a higher level of trust than a DV. Okay, so OV will be higher than DV. Okay, and then they will mainly use for the business organization of the website. But if you want to host for yourself, then you don't have to do that. And one more is called the extended validation. So it's called EV certificate. So that will perform extensive like verifications of the organization identity. Sometimes we will include some like legal and physically and operational extents. So make sure this company exists. Okay, they are working fine and trustable company. So they will display the organization names in the browser address bar. So often in green color, and then use the large enterprise or bank. Okay, so if we can check sometimes, let's say with the bank, maybe. So it, maybe bank, BOA. Okay. And then we have the site. Okay. So we can look at the bank. So you can see the structure and then details. So who will be using, we are same using version 5, and then who is signing this one? Algorithm, issuer. So Entrusted certificate authorities. So we have different types. Okay, so you see we have different authority to verify the backgrounds. Okay, but at least the third party is trustable, like third party to provide this type of certificate. And they have the time before and after. Okay. Not so sure. Have you ever experienced sometimes it's like it doesn't match? Maybe sometimes when you use the VPN. If you use the VPN, have you ever experienced maybe sometimes the maybe Google? Okay. Have you ever tried after you use the VPN, it will say it's not the certificate is not valid or not matched? Have you ever know? Never experienced this kind of problem?
Seen invalid certificate messages will not be doing VPN.
But what kinds?
Seeing it matching, seeing invalid certificate.
Okay, okay, before. But that website is trustable or like you think it's okay? Or just like some unknown website?
Generally, if something I've previously used, there would be kind of a random occurrence, which is like, well,
Okay,
used this before, it's a resource at this point, so we'll see what happens.
okay. Because I want to address the things like because even Google, maybe because when Google is served to different country, right? So they have different, like, let's say, US, maybe UK, maybe like in Asia, like Hong Kong, the exchange. So for different country, they will have different certificate. Okay, so they're different time. So sometimes like when your computer receive, okay, you will receive like some error message, or sometimes they will reject your. So if you have a certificate, let's say you use the certificate, okay, in US and you try to VPN to Africa, okay. So you save the certificate using Africa one, and they will match it with the one in US, okay. So it's not matched. So you couldn't able to search, okay. So you always say receive that error. So you are not able to use Google anymore, okay. So sometimes you need to like remove it and then again your cache, reset it, and you're able to access those websites again. Okay. So here's another things about the certificate. Once you use more, then also like pay attention to those things like certificate, you know. And I will just like quickly go through about the steps. So if you're interested, but one thing is I will let you to try, because every one of you able to do it is like generate a key for yourself, but you may not like try to use for your computer. So just like need to know part of it is okay. So for the steps of process, like generate, install the certificate. First, you need to generate a key pair. So how can use it? We pretty common use the OpenSSL, and then we use a command called the gen the key pair, and then you use the algorithm. We need to define our RSA. And then we need to output what's the private key. So we use the private key. So when I know, and then we have the after we generate the private key, then we use the RSA to generate private key like to out, and then with the input, we pass the private key in. So the PM and then output as the private key. Okay. So if you still remember the algorithm, we're using the private key. So we have the, I give you a P and Q, E and D. Okay, so do you still remember the equation of the public key and private key? The module is like something public, something
For which part?
for the
The encrypting or the?
encrypting and decrypting. So actually basically only two equations. If I give you the PQ ED. So we have two equations.
Symbols,
Mhm.
message over the modulus, and
Okay. And then decryption.
Encrypted value to. No, it is.
I could. So I tell you like how to remember like power to which one. So remember the equation, you're going to see it like in your exam or somehow. So you need to calculate. So remember, and that's how it works. Okay, so in behind, so we need to pass the primary key and the validate to generate public key. So we have two commands right here. So first we need to generate private key. So we need to define which algorithm are we using, RSA, okay? And then we based on this one to output to generate a private key. So in this moment, we do have two, we have the private key and public key. For the let's encrypt, we can use the support power to compute everything. But this one is the detailed steps. And then we will create the certificate sign request. So we use the primary key to create a CSR, then we contain your public key and other identifier information. So right here, XSR to request a new one and then key based on our private key. So we output the CSR. Okay. So during this step, we will pull out some details. You need to input some information. Okay. If you pay for it, something to certain, you have to put a valid, like let me say your domain, organization information, all those things. But you can, and then after you finish it, then you can submit this one to the CA. Okay, you can submit your CSR to the CA for validation. So it may be from like minutes to days. So we depends on the certificate. So if you remember the DV, OV, and EV. So DV is the domain, O is the organization, and E is the extended. So most of the time, maybe we for the organization like school, we doing the OV, okay. And for personal, sometimes maybe just domain is enough. And then we install the issue the certificate. So we can download it sometimes in the CRT format or PM format. So you can install it on your server. And I think it's almost try not to go too much details. I think almost the time. Okay, so I will stop by right here and then tell you like how actually in practical how can use it. I think I quickly just jump over this step, like even in example. But for cybersecurity, you just need to know something exists, but you don't have to know how to implement. But if you're interested, you can refer to some examples. Or like in my other courses, I tell you how to use it. And so far will be this part. So just need to do remember to finish your exercise in class, pretty easy, 2 questions. And just like the check up, just give me the value. Okay, so I think you have a result and then you can submit it. Just tell me what's the checksum value. And here's will be the class. And that's it for today. And second thing, because I have let me see, I have a question. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so just modify because the value, somewhere when I edit, maybe I missed that number or something like 1 or 2 numbers. And for the, because I have a meeting, I have a council meeting, so I don't have a time to have a class on Thursday. So I just say no class. Okay, because I have something like cybersecurity meeting. I don't know. In the beginning, I don't have to join. Okay, so because I have to join the meeting, so no class on Thursday. Okay.
Is that just for cybersecurity?
No, because my meeting is whole day, so even other class too. Okay, I don't know. I need to join the console meeting, but I don't know what should I do. Okay, okay. Will our assignment be graded independently or based on the math? Assignment? For the in class, you mean the assignment is the class assignment? Math. Okay, let me stop the sharing.
Like the
Let me unpub it first. Yes. Okay. Yes, because yeah. Okay. Yes.
For Caesar cipher, do you want to have a space in it encrypted, or do you want to? Or do you want do you want like this encrypted, or do you want it encrypted with no space?
Should be with the space. Okay, say, so everything with the quotation, okay, so. Okay, it's a message. Okay, so when we talk about cybersecurity, it's not see that everything is sending will be encrypted inside the code will be encrypted. Okay.
I really like that.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I cannot say if you see something tricky with the code in the question, like even check them with surveys, then you have to pay attention. Okay. Question.
So for the project, and we could really use one of the websites we've done in the design.
Yes.
It's just the back end, so I don't
Yes.
see why we can't
Yes.
reuse that.
Sure, yeah. For this one, I really totally fine.
It's the security part, it's like.
Yeah.
Use the front end, very
Yeah,
bad.
for sure. Because for this one, I'm not, I cannot, it's like, it's not actually taught.
Yeah, it's
And
not.
also, actually, if I have some, like, some VA can help me, then I can give an experience, but I don't
Yeah.
have that much kind of, just more like experience, like, help you to be able to compare, not all you know. So,
We're in that class, that's what we're using.
yeah, just
Not
like
the
you're,
place
yes,
assignment.
if you are able to do more, so more is more like advanced, like if I give you and then like based on the source code, you know what is this one, what's the security part. So, or like how can actually I will just like one further question, like how this, what kind of like security operation that is like operating, and then how can we increase the level, like how can you it's open.
Yes, sir. I look at that using the am I supposed to add them, or am I supposed to use the individually on each of them? Okay, but so then I'm using the C equals and then before. That's the equation right here.
So you need to do like E was 4 and the E power
17
Yeah.
this number.
Okay, so, okay, yes, and when I ask you always. And I thought, for encryption, and then you need to tell me that. Okay, like, first time you need to show the result. And use the word. And then because you have we want to also.
Something I know, third question would be, if I get 4, I plug it in here, and I get,
That's like 1, 2, 3, I should.
I get 7, and then I need to then do, make it a word, make it
You don't have to work, you can fix the number, it's okay.
oh, just keep the number,
And then.
write all the numbers out, and then decrypt it, so you don't make a nonsense.
You don't have to, you don't have to, okay, don't waste the time with that, okay? Okay.
Design. Is it a project workday or a-
Actually, I would. You may not be hard to do it, but just like. Okay, actually, it's all, I would call it a unique. So kind of like for class. For web programming, you don't have enough time. So, the last time doing the testing.
And,
No, why not when you're inside? Yeah. Working on JS. How can you run it?
Oh, yeah, it's still, you know,
How can you just forward?
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
do I know? No. Okay.
Let's say if you can use the.
Oh.
But the one thing is that, how can I do that? Like, how can I do it? So, you can get one, but I almost do it. Okay. I don't know. No, but that's why yeah, just when you look, I will load the slow just install the package and then write the script and follow the.
This guy, I'm about to go all the way.
Yeah. It's not
You're about to
difficult, but
get
at least I need to let you know.
Oh, yeah.
So into this time. Actually, it's a really. Where you going? I mean, I try to combine it.
That's something.
Okay. Yes, yeah, yes.
It's like. See you find out.
Those still exist.
I don't know, I haven't been to them all from here.
Okay, see.
Yeah.